Alright, so it looks like the Nintendo Direct is going down, so I am going to go over my complete predictions. Now, this is going to encompass major topics that we've discussed before on the channel. This is going to be first-party games, confirmed, big third-party games as well, confirmed that I think that are going to be there. Possible big third-party games that could be coming over, stuff like Persona 5 Royal, for example, or even a game like Nier Automata that came over. So think in that terms. Then there's going to be rumored for a while category as well, then the newest rumors and potential games, and then finally completely new titles. So we're going to have a complete and comprehensive entertaining breakdown for everybody here. But before we get into it, guys, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell, and check out our live streams pretty much daily on the channel at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm doing a lot of cool stuff here, so I'd appreciate if you guys subscribe, hit the like button, all of that good stuff, notification bell. And we will be live streaming the Nintendo Direct. We will be reacting. We will be going over all the games. You're going to get comprehensive coverage here, so it's going to be super fun. Double thumbs up here on PlayerEssence. Now let's go ahead and jump right into it here, guys, with the first party games I think are going to be here for my predictions. So everybody 1-2 Switch, we're not going to spend much time on that game, but I think it's going to be there. Pikmin 4, once again, a game that's already confirmed for July. We're not going to spend too much time on that. I think it's going to be there. Bigger trailer showing off some more features, maybe even online play, multiplayer stuff. That's all a possibility as well. Next up, Baten Kaitos 1+2 HD Remaster. That's already confirmed. It's just summer, blank summer slate. Well, we're in summer, right? So let's go and let's get that confirmed with a date and more details on it. They've done an FAQ, but we just need a little bit more information on it. I don't need to see too much. They are older HD games or games that are already on the GameCube, so it's all good on that front. And then also another game that's going to be pretty big, and I know it's going to be in my confirmed stuff here, but Metroid Prime 4. I think it's about time that Nintendo does show off this game. So maybe this is finally the moment we see Metroid Prime 4 running on the Nintendo Switch. This dates all the way back to 2017 with the original game that was announced with Reggie Fils-Aimé at a Nintendo E3 Direct, and then it got rebooted from what we know in 2018, the announcement in 2019, and it's been MIA since then, except for if you read Nintendo's investor meetings, it's on the TBD list on there, to be decided. So hopefully it's to be decided at this Nintendo Direct. We finally get that Metroid Prime 4 reveal that we've been waiting for, because Metroid Prime Remastered did really well on the Nintendo Switch. Now, next up is confirmed big third-party games. We know about Deca Police. That's going to be awesome. We just need a release date for that. It's getting to the point to where, hey, if it's going to launch in 2023, you probably should have a date on that. So I'm guessing they're going to pick it at this Nintendo Direct and maybe show off some more footage. That game is just looking super cool. So I need me some Deca Police. So please, Level 5, Nintendo, let's get that done. Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. I actually forgot the game in my last video that I did on the whole Nintendo Direct stuff. So I got the name down, Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. That is a big, brand new Professor Layton game for a home console, for the Switch, HD, all this goodness. Professor Layton fans, rejoice. Shout outs to my man Rogers Base. I know you're excited for that one. Now, another confirmed game, I guess it's not a big game, but it's still a big IP, and that is Persona 5 Tacticia. That is confirmed for the Nintendo Switch. That's dropping this November, so I'm pretty sure we might see a trailer for, or in a sizzle reel or something like that. Now, next up is more of the prediction and potential exciting part here for many people, and that is the possible big third-party games that Nintendo could announce at this Direct. Now, starting off, we've got Tales of Arise. This game has been somewhat rumored, not really, for quite some time. I do think that it's probably going to be a Switch 2 thing, but considering how we got stuff like Nier Automata, got Persona 5 Royal, those type of big AAA RPGs that were on other platforms, then finally came over to Nintendo Switch after years and years and years, it is very possible for a game like Tales of Arise from Bandai Namco to come over. In the same vein, Scarlet Nexus, another Bandai Namco game, has not come over to Nintendo Switch right now at this point. Looking at that game, I can understand why maybe skip and switch. They got that bag from Microsoft. Wasn't really needed in terms of what they were trying to do for that title, but I do think that there could be a market on the Nintendo Switch here, or maybe even the Switch 2, but it could be a Switch and Switch 2 game. We'll have to wait and see on that. Soul Hackers 2, a game that surprisingly skipped the Nintendo Switch at the time that it was released. SMT5 did so well. You would think that they want to kind of parlay that into something else, but maybe they were thinking, hey, you know what? It's really kind of a different style of game. We're building it for x86. And obviously Switch fans have their SMT5 that sold incredibly well, over 1 million plus units in 5 months. I'm pretty sure that outsold the entirety of Soul Hackers 2 on Xbox and PlayStation and PC. So we'll see if there's something there with a port. And last but definitely not least, and this is a game that's been kind of rumored at this point and also leaked or listings, Persona 3 Reload. There's been a lot of discussion whether this is going to come over or not. Atlas has a weird marketing deal with Microsoft and Game Pass. Not even really weird. It's like Microsoft just saying, hey, here's a bag for fake third-party Japanese support. Or not even fake, but, you know, here's a bag for announcing it here and saying, hey, we care about the Japanese market and all of that. And plus, giving their users Game Pass. I mean, Game Pass to play these games. I mean, not that many are going to actually do it, but still, it's there. It's an option, and it's still good for those who want to play it on there. So, yeah, Persona 3 Reload, I think it's a possible thing for this Nintendo Direct. Now, the next games that we're going to get into are rumored for a while. So these are games that I've discussed multiple times, that's been rumored by different sources. So I want to get into it, and I think we could see these titles. First up, Fire Emblem 4 Remake, or Genealogy of the Holy War. This is something that's been rumored for quite some time. We know that it's coming. We just don't know exactly when or how or why or what they're going to do. Is it going to be cross-gen? Is it going to be on the Nintendo Switch? There was the delay. There was COVID. There was Fire Emblem Engage. That was supposed to be Anniversary. Got pushed over. Then this got pushed over. So, yeah, I think they actually wanted to have Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War Remake. I actually think they wanted to have that probably at the beginning of the year, and then also the Fire Emblem Engage game in the Anniversary, but something happened to where that didn't happen. So I do think that we could see this game finally at this Nintendo Direct. Now, this is a game that I think that could be here, especially after now Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and that is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD and The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. This has long been rumored, this has long been speculated, this has long been, hey, when is this happening? And I think finally, at the end of the life here of the Switch, because guys, we're getting towards the end. And I know I've talked about this before, I don't need to say it again, but we're getting towards the end when it comes to the Nintendo Switch. So I think they finally dropped these games out there for people to play. I think they're already done. Maybe they've been done. Nintendo has been known to sit on games for a while. They've done it before. They'll do it again. So I do think that we could see these, and that would be awesome for all the traditional or classic Zelda fans out there. And I like me some Wind Waker. I like Wind Waker. I like Twilight Princess. Don't know if I'll replay through all of them again, because I've already played and beat those games so many times, and I don't have the time to be sitting there replaying games over and over and over like that, but I will check it out for sure, see what upgrades they do. Maybe they get it running in 60 frames. They got Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. They got that running in 60 frames, so maybe they actually get these running in 60 frames as well to join the short list of Zelda games when it comes to home console titles that run at 60, just overall in general. So we'll see about that. Now, next up is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. That is something that's been rumored for a little bit now. Nintendo's actually publicly commented on there potentially being something like that if fans wanted to see it. The obstacles that were in the way of this type of game coming back have been removed for the most part. Alpha Dream no longer making that RPG Mario game that Miyamoto and Nintendo has stated, oh, well, we've got that. That's why we don't need another RPG on the console. Obviously, Paper Mario: The Origami King, while it did okay, it sold okay. I think it sold over 3 million plus, and it reviewed okay. I think that that game was way too complex for its own good when it comes to the combat. They were just trying to do really weird things to make it even more weird than it needed to be, and I think that just returning to form here, just giving us something classic and solid when it comes to Paper Mario should be the move at this point. I don't think it'd be too hard to bring this back. So maybe we see, it's been rumored a little bit, maybe we see Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door HD remake, remaster, or whatever the case is. I'm hoping we see something, because I think it's about time at this point. It's about time that we get that real Paper Mario RPG. You know, I did state before that stuff like, what was it, Mario plus Rabbids, Sparks of Hope, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, those games kind of filled the void, but that's kind of fizzled out a bit now at this point. I think it's time to get back to that traditional intelligent system style, this would be a good first spot to go to. It's been like, what, 20 years since Thousand Year Door? Almost 20 years. So yeah, I think it's time. Next up is F-Zero GX, another game that's been rumored as well. Bandai Namco, Nintendo, Sega, whoever's going to be doing this, something like that. There's been so many different people that have came through with this one, but I hope F-Zero fans get something, because I think even if you took F-Zero GX, put it in HD, online multiplayer, bam, right there. That's good enough. People will buy that for 40, 50 bucks. Heck, some F-Zero fans will probably drop 60 bucks on that game. So I do think that is a possibility as well, and it would be great for F-Zero fans. They've been able to play F-Zero on the Super Nintendo, F-Zero on the N64, so they've gotten a little bit of F-Zero on the Switch, but there really hasn't been something when it comes to the top of the franchise. Most F-Zero fans say F-Zero GX is the best game in the series. I think it's about time F-Zero GX makes its way to Nintendo Switch and people can play more of a modern style of F-Zero game on the platform with some great online multiplayer. Next up, and rumored for a while, is Kid Icarus Uprising. Masahiro Sakurai, don't fail me now. I mean, listen, we've talked about this before. Masahiro Sakurai says, I wonder if there's going to be Kid Icarus with HD consoles, or Kid Icarus with modern controls, or on modern systems, or on the TV. I think he knows something. You don't say that, Sakurai. Come on, man. Don't do that to us. But there's also been rumors as well. Jeff Grubb has talked about it. There's been other people that have talked about how Kid Icarus Uprising is in the works, potentially with Bandai Namco or somebody else to get that done. So I'm really hoping it does, because the only issue I have with Kid Icarus Uprising is the controls. If the controls were good, and I talked about this in my 7 remasters that need to come over. Check out that video if you haven't seen it yet. But like, this game, if it had dual analog controls, goodness gracious, the on-ground parts would have been so much better. The game would have reviewed so much better. And that online multiplayer could have even been so much better with that. That's all it needs. Kid Icarus, that franchise can make a resurrection, can come back. This could be a 2+ million seller if this is done right, if everything is solid. You put that baby at 60 frames per second, you give us some polished, little bit update to the graphics, you give us those dual analog controls with all that content that game has, single player and multiplayer wise, that is a phenomenal experience. And if they were able to bring that over cleanly, I think it would do really well. However, it is a Nintendo 3DS game. Nintendo has not been bringing those games over, so you never know. But it is a prediction of mine in terms of what we could see. And last but not least, for rumored for a while, we've got Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3. This is the last 66% or so of the rumors that we've been getting since 2018 with the Metroid Prime Trilogy HD. Now, we got a high-end remaster with Metroid Prime Remastered, but there's been rumors that 2 and 3 won't quite be up to that level. Maybe they'll be straight ports or HD ports of the game. I do feel that Nintendo's already ported these games multiple times at this point, so I think that one more port and putting it in 1080p and 60 frames per second probably shouldn't be too hard to do, unless they were going the full-end remaster route like they did with Metroid Prime Remastered, but I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. But I still think leading up to Metroid Prime 4, it would be good if you got Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3 out there. Maybe even there's a double pack, don't know about that, but hopefully something happens with Metroid Prime 2 and 3. Those are fantastic games. You have to get some of the control stuff figured out, but I think they did a great job with Metroid Prime Remastered, which that game has motion controls, that game has dual analog controls, it has everything that you need in there. So I think that Metroid Prime 2 and 3 would be great to play on the Nintendo Switch, and even would look great. Even if they didn't remaster it as well as Metroid Prime Remastered, I still think those games would still look good on the Nintendo Switch, because people play it on Dolphin and all that type of stuff, and it looks incredible. I think if you just did the same thing, 1080p, 60 frames per second, which those games already ran at 60 on the GameCube hardware and on the Wii hardware, I think it would be just fine, and on the Wii U as well, through the backwards compatibility. In a number of years here, guys, I think that things can go really well for these games. Now, next up is newest rumors and potential. So these are games that have just kind of sneaked in there, and potentially we could see there that I'm predicting that could be at the show. Now, let's start off with Xenosaga Remasters, Xenosaga Remaster. This is something that was seemed not financially stable or not financially viable a number of years ago from Bandai Namco, but that was before Xenoblade really blew up on the Nintendo Switch, and that was before Future Redeem dropped a bombshell after you beat that game. So now I am fully thinking that with the blessing of Bandai Namco and with Nintendo and with Monolith Soft and with whoever else is involved, that we finally see Xenosaga come back after 20 plus years. It's time. This is the time to get it done. If you're going to do that, you cannot do that to us with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed and that ending and not bring back Xenosaga. I don't care what anybody says, it's gotta come back. I'm convinced it's coming back, so maybe we see that at this direct. Next up, we've got more Xeno goodness. Xenogears is a game that I think is possible as well. Once again, if you play Future Redeemed, Xenogears could be a possibility. Anything Xeno at this point is a possibility. So if I'm throwing in there Xenosaga, I think Square Enix, you gotta come in there with Xenogears. I think that game could do really well on a PS1 port type of situation. And then last but definitely not least, let's finish off the Xeno trifecta with Xenoblade Chronicles X. I've talked about this game for years and what's going on. Once again, another title that was deemed financially impossible or couldn't happen at the time. Yeah, that's because Monolith Soft had their hands full with Splatoon and Zelda and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and all the DLC and Future Redeemed. They just had their hands in everything. I think the schedule is cleared up a bit. They've got their new IP they're working on. I think that they potentially have maybe a remaster or two that they could be helping out with. Their auxiliary teams are working on other things as well. But I do think that now has been the time for them after Xenoblade 3 has been done for quite some time. Future Redeemed was done for quite some time. For that, Xenoblade Chronicles X has been in development and gets brought back. Now that they've been clear for quite some time now, and I do think that they're also working on that new IP. So I don't think we're going to see that, but I do think that Xenoblade Chronicles X is a high possibility for this one. And man, what a ending would it be? What a run if on the Nintendo Switch you can play Xenogears, Xenosaga, Xenoblade, all of them, right? Xenoblade 1, 2, 3, Future Redeemed, and X. That's just incredible. That just would make my mind explode if all of that happens. That's going to be tough. I know it's a lot to ask for, but I'm just giving my predictions of what we could see at this show. And last but definitely not least, we have the completely new games, which I don't really have too much on this list. Some of this stuff has been rumored a little bit, but it's a brand new 2D Mario game, which was recently rumored. Don't know how reliable that's going to be, just because of what Nintendo stated about 2D Mario before, and we already have New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe that's still selling really well on the Nintendo Switch, and Super Mario Maker 2 that's also still doing well on the Nintendo Switch. So there's enough 2D Mario out there for people to play, so we'll see if that happens. But then also a new Donkey Kong game as well. That's been rumored for quite some time now, and maybe we finally see that as one of the final games there for the regular Nintendo Switch going out. So this could be awesome. This could be an incredible direct. It could be nowhere near as good as what I'm saying here, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm pretty sure I'll be wrong on a lot of these, right on some of them. So we'll see. What do you guys think? What are your predictions? Let me know in the comment section, and also make sure you watch our live stream. We will be live reacting right here at the time, so make sure you guys hit that notification bell, subscribe, and stay locked in for all the latest gaming news, all the latest RPG stuff out there, all the latest on all of that. We're covering it right here on PlayerEssence. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Check out some of our other videos right here on screen, and we will see you for the next one. Peace out.